Ian Bunn is a self-taught, result-driven senior software engineer with a proven track record in developing innovative solutions for back-end and front-end applications. As a technical founder and chief strategy officer at Green Growers Club, Ian is instrumental in shaping the company's strategic direction while leveraging his extensive experience in full-stack development to deliver impactful results. With a strong focus on streamlining processes, enhancing user satisfaction, and driving business growth, Ian brings a diverse set of technical skills to the table. His expertise spans a wide array of technologies, enabling him to design and deploy high-performing applications that meet the dynamic needs of today's fast-paced technical landscape. An advocate for cross-functional collaboration, Ian excels in agile project management, fostering seamless teamwork to create efficient and scalable solutions. With a passion for innovation and a commitment to excellence, he continues to lead teams towards achieving transformative goals that deliver tangible value to both users and businesses alike. I would like to welcome Ian Bunn to Choices Fruit interview and welcome, Ian.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for having me here with Choices Fruit.
So we'll go and talk about your background. So the first question is, can you tell us about your background? What led you to become a tech founder and what inspired you to create the Green Growers Club?
Yeah. so my background is software engineer by nature. I am a creator as well, so I love to create products and solutions for different socioeconomic problems. And what led me to start Green Growers Club is my passion for the cannabis industry and for the evolution of the next step of the industry, which is provide accurate information to consumers and growers alike. So, yeah, so I'm very passionate about cannabis. I believe Seth Rogen said, I'm not quite cut out for this world, but weed makes it okay. And I feel like his quote kind of speaks volumes towards like why a lot of people use it and the negativity in the world today and how it can be used not just as a mental health tool, but also as a coping mechanism with all the negativity and uncertainty and the current weather and the politics kind of aspects, and also in the legal challenges against cannabis industry.
Thank you. I think you've talked about a little bit what sparked your interest on starting the platform. So the next question I'll probably want you to talk about the problem you identified that sparked the idea for creating your app.
Yes. I mean, since the hemp bill from 2018, there has been a lot of lack of transparency between growers and consumers. So there's a lot of disjointed communities when it comes to growers and consumers not being in the same room. So I kind of saw this problem where there is no platform that provides accurate, up-to-date information for consumers about growers, I guess, cultivation methods, growers' use of pesticides on their cultivars, growers' use of growth regulators in the actual plant, like ethylene or other chemicals to increase their yields, right? And there hasn't been a lot of studies in regards to what the um, real harms towards humans are, but definitely, I mean, if you ingest chemical pesticides, obviously there's a potential harm for the human consuming it, right? So this platform kind of provides that information and bridges the gap between, what the actual grower is willing to provide, and consumers keeping them accountable for their cultivation methods, their environmental impact, and their waste management techniques. So all of that entailing one platform was kind of what sparked me to create Green Growers Club and create an ecosystem where growers and consumers can come together in one place.
Thank you for sharing that. So what sets Green Growers Club apart from other platforms or resources available to cannabis cultivators today?
Yeah, so the main differentiator, I mean, I guess everyone says data, right? But data is at the heart of it. Green Growers Club is driven by community. Um, and like I mentioned, since there's no real platform and there's a lack of resources that provide that transparency to the consumers about the growers' cultivation methods, then I feel like this type of set of features differentiates and sets Green Growers Club apart from other competitors out there that are in the same kind of realm when it comes to providing information to the consumer. And not only that, I mean, just providing growers a one-stop shop when it comes to like logging information about their cultivars, also providing insights and reporting, and also dealing with compliance reporting as well to help them pass regulations or things of that nature. So, so that kind of is what sets Green Growers Club apart from other competitors, and the one central shop aspect of it is what really comes to mind when it comes to the main differentiator between other competitors.
So let's talk about your mission and vision. Your mission focuses on providing a space for farmers to learn from each other. How do you see this peer-to-peer exchange contributing to the growth of cannabis industry as a whole?
Okay. So I think the future is now, right? So we got to act now in order to, be prepared and ready for whatever comes in the future. But data is the new oil, and insights on that data is the gas that keeps the insightful information coming to provide useful information in the exchange of data between peers, right? And also, like I mentioned, I'm a big advocate of the cannabis industry, and I share the same vision as the legend Jack Herer, which kind of goes to hand in hand when it comes to like providing education, removing that stigma from on cannabis, because people really don't know or are afraid of the effects, or are not well informed about the benefits and advantages of the uses of cannabis, not only for humans to consume it as smokables or edibles, but we go beyond that. We go into textiles, we go into oils, we go into livestock feed, we go into a lot of things that hemp, not just hemp, the actual flower or the cannabis flower, but the root, the leaves, everything can be used in a good way to provide, alleviation to the environmental greenhouses effects that we're encountering now with the continuing impact on the oil industry, right? Affecting the environment and producing a lot of like greenhouse effects, and I mean, increasing the potential of global warming, right? And environmental impact, negative environmental impact to, our oceans and seas. So definitely all that goes hand in hand when it comes to like the growth of the cannabis industry as a whole, right? And I believe that Green Growers Club is providing that kind of bridge to gap that information deficiency in regards to the consumer having everything that they can actually know about a grower, so they can make informed decisions about what they're consuming. But all in all, my mission is to educate and remove the negative stigma on cannabis.
Thank you for that clarification. And it's very important that people get this kind of information because there's so much out there about cannabis that people don't know. So thank you for that. And coming back to your platform, you mentioned it's a one-stop platform. What role does community play in your platform's success, and how do you foster an inclusive and supportive environment for growers of all levels?
Yeah, community is at the heart of Green Growers Club, and it's what I feel going to be what sets us apart from other platforms. We foster all levels of inclusivity, but like from experienced growers to beginner growers, where experienced masters can create SOPs or standard operating procedures on our platform and share it with the community so other beginners can use the best methods or best standards in regards to their grow ops, how they handle nutrients, IPMs, pesticides management kind of techniques. And all of these kind of standard operating procedures are available for growers to share. And that's kind of what we're banking on for the community to drive the growth and success of the inclusiveness and the support that each other provide. Because I mean, if we don't have the actual participation by the community, members will kind of like fall off or not come back. So definitely creating a free application and no paywalls to include any person from not having any excuses about not sharing their knowledge, right? Because it's all about like how you, not what you learn, but it's how you apply your knowledge and share it, and that's what sets like followers and leaders apart. So I can know all the information in the world, but if I don't actually apply it and share it and teach others to fish, then there's not going to be any type of inclusiveness or support from coming from the platform. So I feel like just sharing the knowledge is where it's at when it comes to the success of this platform.
Yeah, I think sharing knowledge is very important, and that's one of the ways to engage and have ideas flowing, and so I feel that most platforms lack that, where knowledge is, you have to always pay for knowledge, and with green growers, basically the knowledge is free, so people can always come and contribute and building the platform.
Yep.
So how do you envision the platform evolving over the next few years, especially as the cannabis industry continues to grow and mature?
I guess, I mean, I have a lot of like kind of plans for it, but I mainly envision Green Growers Club to be or an ecosystem of tools and resources that will help consumers and growers make the most of their cannabis experience. So it's gonna integrate a lot of parts when it comes from point A to point Z of the supply chain when it comes to the cannabis industry, because you're including now the growers, which were very I guess, in the background and behind the scenes when it comes to showing off the products at the dispensaries or things of that nature. So I'm kind of envisioning this platform to bring the growers to the front line of the cannabis industry and really showcase their cultivation methods, their best practices. So not only can they be transparent with their consumers and people that are actually community members, but they're also going to be able to, or consumers are going to be able to keep growers accountable for bad practices, right? So, they can come in the platform and rate a specific grower low or we're gonna have a 1 through 5 star rating, and also a reviews section in our growers profile. So that's gonna also dictate a lot of the engagement when it comes the grower kind of having a panel where they can see how they're impacting the consumer at the point Z of the supply chain. So yeah, so that's a lot of kind of like a gamut of, where I see Green Growers Club becoming an ecosystem for the cannabis industry, from growers side all the way to the consumer side. So we will see how that works out. But I mean, I have other vertical integrations when it comes to data and testing in the pipeline right now. So definitely very excited about the future, and kind of the evolution of Green Growers Club in the next few years.
Does that mean that you're kind of eliminating middlemen from, because I know they're usually middlemen between the farmer and the.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. That's a great insight that you kind of saw there. And while that's not the immediate goal, yes, that is going to be the goal down the line in 5 to 7 years, right? Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, when it comes to direct to consumer, the consumer comes out, benefiting, and also the fabricator or the grower or whatever product or service creator that might be. But when it comes to direct to consumer, I feel like that's key when it comes to having an online e-commerce platform. While I'm not looking to create an e-commerce platform for growers, that might be down the pipeline, but I'm more looking into um, the dissemination of information when it comes to the supply chain of cannabis industry, and implementing some safeguards, validation, verification, and testing for growers to pass and get verified on our platform, so that so that consumers can know exactly what they're consuming, and which growers are, using the best practices. They're not using pesticides that are harmful towards humans, because I mean, pesticides are used whether you like it or not, but what type of pesticides are used, right? So that's the key in regards to what is being used. There's also organic, ways to eliminate uh, bad bacteria or get rid of bad flies or whatever it may be. But um, yeah, it's not eliminating the middleman completely, but if that's an opportunity down the line, I mean, we'll look into it. But e-commerce is such a beast, and when it comes to navigating the legal aspects of mobile app reviews in Apple and Google Play, it becomes very complex when it comes to actually passing the review. So yeah, so there's a lot of complex hurdles that we one need to
Yeah,
get over as a cannabis industry, as a whole, not just for me, but as a whole, to improve the access and the information for the consumer.
thank you. So you mentioned a number of challenges and some opportunities. So we'll jump into the industry challenges and opportunities. Uh, what are some of the biggest challenges cannabis cultivators face today, and how does Green Growers Club address these challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I just mentioned the legal landscape being one of the biggest challenges facing the cannabis industry today. I mean, we just saw Robert F. Kennedy Jr. deferred the descheduling of cannabis in the U.S. to the DEA last week. So they're kind of passing, the responsibility back and forth, and nobody wants to make a decision. But somebody has to realize the baseless prohibition on a plant that can solve many social and economical problems in our communities. So not just, do I see that we need to push the government a little bit harder when it comes to solving these legal challenges, but being active in the political landscape to lobby for, for the legalization of cannabis. And another challenge, I mean, I mentioned that that was kind of also the gap that I saw, and the problem I'm trying to solve is a lot of inaccurate and old information on cannabis strains. And what you find online, they're not specifics on how a grower or a cultivar was grown, right? They're kind of generalized information of a specific strain, which is not going to be the same from grower A to grower B. And even that grower A that has multiple phenotypes of the same strain might actually generate different type of plant types, right? It might be, whatever different terpene profile or a different aroma, but yeah, so there's non-specifics about how a specific cultivar was grown. So I feel that's a big challenge right now, and I feel like Green Growers Club is ready to solve that when it comes to providing the accurate and verified and vetted information on not just cannabis strains, because we are creating a cannabis germplasm repository, if you will, of like a library of all strains and specific grow methods, and what could be potentially the yield from that strain or whatever it may be. But we're creating a library for that, not just to inform growers on what specific plant they want to grow, but also consumers on what type of effects they want, what type of aromas or terpenes they want. So another challenge was, I mean, the lack of regulatory bodies, right? When it comes to monitoring the industry, um, it creates or it gives less confidence about legalizing cannabis because there's not enough safeguards or enough centralized companies that provide information that's easily vetted for the government or regulatory bodies to, go through it and analyze and verify. So we're kind of paving the way to create an ecosystem that will enable and facilitate the sharing of information on the supply chain. And that kind of goes back to, the vertical integration that Green Growers Club is planning to create. Um, but yeah, so addressing kind of by providing a platform, right, that delivers good information for growers, for consumers, and even regulatory bodies down the line.
Okay, thank you. So there is cannabis and there is hemp. Can you briefly tell us the difference? Because a lot
Well,
of people hear cannabis and then hemp, and
there is no difference when it comes to the plant, right? It's the same plant, but it's grown to have different molecule percentages, right? So when it comes to cannabis, THC delta 9 or the psychoactive molecule is present in THC, and hemp is has potentially almost 0.0325, or I forgot the threshold that's allowed, but um, yeah, so there's just that the difference in chemical molecules that the plant has. It is the same plant. We're talking about the same cannabis, and hemp is the same plant. It just kind of like being a human, right? Like we're, it's like in us in the same family. My brother and I are, Ian Bunn, and my brother is also a Bunn. So, that's kind of cannabis and hemp. We're in the same line. We just share different chemical composition when it comes to not having psychoactive molecules in hemp and having psychoactive molecules in cannabis.
cannabis.
But also in other like sites, I guess. I mean, there's really no difference when it comes to like, I guess, the plant itself, right? Like they both require the same nutrients, the same everything. They look the same, they act the same, and they both have, therapeutic effects. They both have wellness benefits. And right now it's a lot of like heated debate when it comes to hemp companies, right? That I guess we implement or not implement, but we can talk about THCA as well, right? Which is, as you see here in Austin or all around Texas, there's now cannabis dispensaries, right? But they're hemp dispensaries. They have THCA molecule in them, which is supposed to be a molecule that's not psychoactive as THCA, but as soon as THCA is warmed up to a certain point, the A falls off. The acid, I feel like it's an acid. Um, I'm not a scientist when it comes to growing. I'm more of a technical scientist, so I don't know a lot. But yeah, the THCA definitely gets warmed up. The A falls off. It becomes THC, which is the psychoactive part of the Delta 9 or the cannabis, right? So that's actually what you see being sold around Texas, right? THCA can become THC when it gets heated at a certain point. So with that being said, not everything becomes THC. There's a certain that completely burns off, but yeah, like a big percentage of that becomes THC. Therefore, a lot of consumers that are looking for that quote unquote high are buying those type of products, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that's kind of like the main difference. But yeah, we're trying to provide information when it comes to like the wellness benefits, not just like trying to yeah, there's a lot of benefits when it comes to cannabis usage and consumption. So we'll definitely see what the regulation in regards to like hemp versus cannabis go so far. But yeah, there's a lot of discussions about that debate, and even here in Texas, they're trying to move back the hemp bill, or but yeah, we'll see how the political landscape changes when it comes to having hemp legal in the U.S. and in Texas as well.
So as more states moving to legalize cannabis, how do you see the industry evolving and how is your platform preparing for those changes?
Yeah, so I think by creating this platform, we're anticipating that the industry will continue to grow and evolve, not just locally, but in the US, but globally. There are many countries getting ahead of the US and legalizing cannabis right now. In South America, you got Uruguay, Brazil, Argentina. Our neighbors to the north and south, Canada and Mexico, have already legalized cannabis at a national level. Europe, you're talking about Portugal, Germany, Netherlands, Malta, Georgia. In Asia, Thailand and other many countries have decriminalized it. Middle East, you got Israel, that they were pretty much the scientific fathers when it comes to back in the 60s, studying the chemical composition of cannabis and finding all these different CBD or cannabinoids, I should say, in the plant, right? And all the therapeutic effects of the plant in South Africa. But yeah, so it's definitely growing, and it's not just a growth in the U.S., it's a growth in the world. And the main trend that I'm really following closely is the health and wellness trend. So I'm preparing Green Growers Club to kind of tackle that first, I guess, barrier when it comes to providing accurate information to consumers to make well-informed decisions about their health and wellness when it comes to consuming cannabis. You don't want to smoke any pesticides use in the plants. There's irradiation use on the plants, which kills bacteria and other viruses that some growers are using on the actual harvested flower, and that could potentially cause harm, to human cell, cause damage and mutation to, to the cell structure. So yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to provide and trying to get ahead of the actual challenges and how the industry is evolving in order to provide the information that consumers need to make wise decisions about their consumptions, right? And that, I feel like it should be for every industry, not just for cannabis. There should be something for vegetables, for beef, for chicken, all of these things. We need to be able to provide transparent information about the suppliers, the growers, the farmers, all the way to the consumer. And I feel like we're getting there for every other industry. When it comes to, I mean, I don't want to get too technical, but blockchain technologies, it's not something new. It's a technology from the 80s and 90s, but we're barely finding the use case and leveraging the blockchain to maybe potentially help the supply chain and keep the suppliers accountable for what they put out there, and for consumers, for food, vegetables, meat, milk, cannabis, whatever it may be. But we need to have that information readily available. And I feel like I'm trying to get ahead of those problems and prepare this platform to solve them.
Thank you. Every entrepreneur faces challenges. What are some of the toughest obstacles you encountered in building your company?
Yeah, no, I mean, every entrepreneur or solopreneur knows there's a lot of challenges in everything you take on, right? But in the cannabis industry, it has been extra hard, I would say, just because, one, the stigma associated with the cannabis plant, it makes it hard and difficult to attract investors and partners, right? Or even talent to work with me, right? So a lot of people frown upon cannabis industry because it's illegal, but it's illegal because of I guess the prohibition era back then in the 1920s and 1930s. There was a push against racist, I guess, prohibition, because Harry Anslinger, kind of political figure back then, was pushing against the use of marijuana, as it was called, against jazz musicians, against Mexican workers, against a lot of people that would partake on that, and particularly in the minority communities. So ever since then, 1920s, 1930s, that's when cannabis became prohibited. But before then, you go back to even the 1900s, or even in World War II, there was a video created by the government. It's called Hemp for Victory, where the government was pushing farmers to grow hemp in order to provide uniforms, textiles, ropes, sails, and things like that to military forces. So, and not just textiles, but food, the oil seed, and all of these things were actually supported by the government before Prohibition era, which came about because of baseless, non-scientific information. And I'm trying to tackle that with this platform. I'm trying to create a scientific platform where people can rely on the information that we provide to them, and remove the stigma and make people less afraid about the effects and all of these things, right? To just help the cannabis industry move forward. That's been a big challenge for me, and as well as other things that come uh, in the legal aspect of things, right? Like I had to incorporate in Colorado because it's an ancillary cannabis company. So while it's not in the cannabis producing industry, we are an ancillary to the cannabis industry. So we provide a service to cannabis growers and cannabis consumers. So that was real hard to file corporation. So I had to do it in a different state where cannabis is legal. And also banking access is just completely almost, hard, and it has high fees for all these people in the cannabis industry that is hard to actually break into the cannabis industry. So when it comes to having a bank account and having access to banking and payment methods, that becomes a real complex challenge, because there's still the legality issues when it comes to the US. So you have to go local into the state and find these banks that provide access to those type of product, retail accounts and things of that nature, so I can get an account, right? So that's also being a challenge, but everything boils down to the stigma, the negative stigma on cannabis, and not being able to get over that hump that, there's no scientific, I guess, base that provides, that cannabis is it's wrong. Obviously there's limitations, and with everything that you do, you don't eat candy all day, you shouldn't consume cannabis all day. Alcohol, the same thing, everything with the limitation. So yeah, so I feel like there's just many challenges as an entrepreneur, but also in the cannabis industry, and I'm still facing them. It's a never stop battle, and the legal aspect of cannabis being legal in the U.S. is still illegal. So we'll see what the DEA now says in the following weeks, but they're gonna take their time to figure it out, because that's not a priority for them when there's other industries that are providing 50 billion a month of income to the states. But cannabis is becoming like a 10 to 15 billion industry in the US alone. So hopefully that creates a big enough dent for government officials to see that we can actually impact, the actual financial state of our country by actually legalizing cannabis and paying taxes on it. Because, as in different states, there's also the challenge of the black market, so while there's certified and validated and licensed growers, there's also the opposite of that when it comes to the black market. So they're providing, also a big challenge when it comes for the cannabis industry to evolve and take that step forward. So yeah.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned from failure, and how did it shape the way you run your business today?
Yeah, failure is a big learning tool. I feel like if it's a natural part of the entrepreneurial journey, and it's important to learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward. I mean, I believe in this quote by Steve Jobs. He said, "When you innovate, you make mistakes. So it is best to admit your mistakes quickly and get on improving your other innovations." So it's not how hard you can hit, but it's about how fast you can get up after a fall. And you know, all these kind of lessons have come from a failure in my life experiences, and it's what makes me who I am today. So I believe like that the biggest lessons learned are come from failed projects, failed ventures. But I guess I specifically learned that I need to really analyze an opportunity when an opportunity is presented to me, because I need to see where my passion lies in that opportunity, where my strengths lie, and where are my skills that can help the community thrive in that specific passion. And I mean, there's a Japanese method called ikigai, or ikigai is to follow your life's calling by following like the center of your passion by providing your skills and making a living, and where all those circles meet in the middle, that should be your passion, right? And that should be your life's work. And for me, I was lucky enough to have found what kind of drives me and keeps me motivated to continue be disciplined and and determined to make an application, right? But Another thing is, pivoting is crucial in the startup world. So when you realize your mistakes, like Steve Jobs said, you have to pivot right away and really analyze the market and the trends and where they're moving to see where you can apply your energy and really see where you can apply your skills in a way that it can impact in a positive way the consumer space, the grower space, and in general the cannabis industry.
Thank you for sharing your inspiration, and also these are lessons that can be learned and can also be something someone can emulate, because challenges, we all have similar challenges, and someone definitely learns from one another. That's one of the ways we get sharing knowledge, and collaborating is one way we can learn and try to improve ourselves. So we are going to talk about ethics and sustainability. I know you've mentioned a lot about regulation and challenges in the cannabis industry. How do you ensure that your platform operates ethically and stays compliant with local laws and regulations?
Yeah, it's been tough, like I mentioned, but I'm making an effort to obviously only operate in regions where cannabis can be grown, whether with a commercial license or at the liberty of our own home. Right? There's home grow laws in different states and different countries. So yeah, so we have to kind of abide by region in regards to the legal field and legal aspect and challenges of the cannabis industry. So I make sure that I operate in regions where I can. And also by having my platform, Green Growers Club, as a mobile app first, I get reviewed by Apple and Google Play. So there's two regulatory or guidelines, SOPs or standard operating procedures that they follow to review every app that they have to review in order for them to get accepted into their stores. So typically, it takes about 24 to 48 hours to get approved in any store, whether it's Apple or Google. But for my app, it took about 3 months to get approved. So I can only kind of speak about, kind of what I face so far when it comes to the cannabis industry and the regulations. So yeah, it was hard to get my app approved into the stores. It took about 3 months when an average takes 24 to 48 hours if it's a regular industry, I should say. So yeah, so making sure I operate in the right locales and also abiding by the technology guidelines of mobile apps publishing stores. I feel like I'm ensuring that we maintain that compliance with the local laws and regulations.
Let's talk about community and impact. How does your company contribute to the broader tech ecosystem or community?
Yeah. So I mean, we provide health and wellness information to consumers. So yeah, that's kind of the broader ecosystem and community of cannabis industry. And we also provide, grower tracking tools, grower reporting, and we're trying to drive the innovation and growth in the cannabis industry by, I guess, forces of serendipity, bringing the consumer and the grower into one place where they can interact and allow the chances of lady luck kind of create some synergy and drive innovation with those interactions. So we view our platform as an ecosystem that will enable growers and consumer to come together into one place.
Can you share any success stories or examples where a grower or community member's journey has been positively impacted by your platform?
Yeah, so I want to definitely, build trust with the community. So I'm creating a donation plan to donate a percentage of our profits to organizations that support communities. So like there's been community members that have shared different companies and nonprofit organizations where, we're planning to donate a certain percentage of our profits on a monthly basis to different nonprofits. And also, not yet, but we are already have it in a pipeline to provide scholarships to students who are interested in pursuing a career in cannabis cultivation or related cannabis fields. So those two things were brought to me by a community member that was seeing the potential of Green Growers Club and still uses this as a grower. I mean, I kind of helped him move away from tracking his grow ups from a spreadsheet onto this application. So he's been so thankful of this app and the tools that I've been providing in order for him to not use a spreadsheet. Right? He hates spreadsheets, and when you can facilitate the user experience and improve on the user interface. Oh, that was a loud thunder. But when you can improve on that, that's when you get these success stories, and they the same users or the community members come back with feedback, and we maintain that ongoing communication loop of what can I do to help you have the best yield for your grow operations, what can I help you, or what information can I provide for your wellness experience.
What's next for Green Growers Club in terms of expansion or partnerships with other businesses or organizations?
Yeah, there's a lot of things next in the pipeline, but yeah, like I mentioned, I'm pivoting right now into the consumer side and the health and wellness information. So that's coming up next, real quick. Probably by the end of this month, we'll have a new deployment in our applications in the Google and Apple Store. So make sure to go and get your application there. There's, a lot of vertical integration we're planning and expanding our ecosystem into more of like testing and verification of the actual product. So we'll get into more of the science back house, if you will, or back office of testing the actual cannabis flower or the cannabis, edible or whatever it may be. But we're planning and have that already um, in the works. So definitely very excited about the few next years of in Green Growers Club.
For aspiring entrepreneurs looking to enter this space to make a difference in the world, what advice would you give to help them succeed?
Yeah, man, providing actual like advice is hard, right? Because it has to be very personal, and specifically for success, because success is a moving target. Everyone has a different definition for success. So I'm just gonna give like what I did, right? So for me, is kind of like being passionate about what I'm doing, and then learning from my, missteps or my mistakes or whatever challenge comes my way. Being resilient in the face of like actually coming ahead of of the curve when it comes to challenges in the industry, and finding a supportive community, like you, Aaron, and having Choices Fruit to kind of help us, share the information that this platform is available. Advisors and peers who have helped me navigate, the ups and downs of the entrepreneurial journey. So find a good community that provides support, and also most importantly, do not be afraid to make mistakes and to fail. So failing and making mistakes is the biggest lesson and the biggest teacher when it comes to learning how to succeed, because you already learned what way doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? So you can only go and venture into other ways that they could potentially be right. So you already went through the wrong path. Pick yourself up, go on to the next path that's down the line. And maybe that's the correct one. You never know. If it's the wrong path again, go on to the next one. You have time as long as you breathe. So there's never a stopping kind of path for me when it comes to finding that definition of success in my life.
Thank you so much, Ian. This has been a very inspiring interview, and this concludes our session today. And is there any last
No,
comment or
yeah, no, I mean,
inspiration you'd
I
like to
think
say?
I talked a lot. I mean, but definitely just, I would just kind of wanted to, reiterate, the importance of people before me. So Jack Hare was is a big inspiration in my life and a big hero in the cannabis industry. So I live by the same kind of pledge of helping and supporting the cannabis industry until it is legal, not just in the US, but everywhere. So yeah, so I'm pledging to help the cannabis industry, become accessible everywhere in the world.
Is there places that you usually go and for meetups so people can find you in case they would like to meet you? Or
Yeah, I mean, I'm very open. So, people can find me on LinkedIn. I also do Founders Club running on Saturday mornings at Lady Bird Lake. And then we go after the run, we go to a Fuga coffee shop around 9 a.m. So you can find me there on Saturdays most of the time. And also, different data book clubs. I'm in a lot of book clubs. I read a lot, but also, yeah, just becoming part of the cannabis industry here in Austin, Texas. There's a lot of events going around, so I'll definitely be, in those events. I was in the Minority Cannabis Association workshop at Lazy Days not too long ago. And that was like a tour of this nonprofit that advocates for, um, social fairness and injustice to the groups that have been affected by the war on drugs. So yeah, so definitely, you can find me in any networking event for cannabis or on LinkedIn.
thank you, Ian. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, Aaron. It was a pleasure and very nice talking to you and interviewing with you. So yeah, I'm looking forward to, sharing the growth of Green Growers Club with Choices Fruit and yeah, hopefully, we see ourselves soon and in the success of our companies.
Thank you.